Another area where we're seeing growing interest is in polled genetics. So for years, this was viewed as a niche trait, but today it's becoming a serious herd strategy with big implications for animal welfare, labor savings, and overall economics. So to walk us through our power of polled segment and topic from removing dehorning from your future, I'm going to hand it over to Paul and Erin Ray to lead us off.
Yeah, so thanks, Krista, and welcome, Erin, to this segment here. So, Erin, make short and sweet, but for many years, polled was considered a niche kind of trait, pursued only by a few, and typically by breeders who were looking to find a new angle to market genetics. But that's changing. So, what would you say has changed? Why is polled now suddenly becoming mainstream?
Thank you, Paul, and welcome to everyone today. Polled genetics. It wasn't very long ago that only a few breeders were adding polled to specific matings to add a marketing component to a cow family. Polled bulls only sold in small quantities and were really a niche product. Most producers didn't use the polled bulls because the perception and I guess reality was we had to give up too much on economically important traits to gain that polled advantage. Now, what has changed is that we have a number of polled bulls that are actually very competitive for the key traits desired, and there is no sacrifice to be made. We now have some commercial dairies making polled part of their overall herd strategy, and that means it's no longer a niche product but mainstay, just like A2 has become in many herds. It might not yet be exclusively polled bulls like some herds do with A2, but I could see that coming soon.
Well, it's actually an interesting example, Erin. So, but selecting for polled is a bit different than the A2 or even like the red gene, isn't it? Maybe explain that for our audience too.
Yes, that's right. In order for a cow to be A2 or red, the inherited gene for A2 and red factor need to come from both sire and dam in order to get the desired outcome, the A2 cow or a red animal. So then for polled, on the other hand, it's a dominant gene, which means if one copy of the gene is inherited from either the dam or the sire, you will end up with a polled calf.
So, and then just getting back into the Semex side of things, how has Semex incorporated the polled gene into its sire lineup? And maybe can you illustrate some examples of bulls that have been popular with some of your customers?
Yeah, for sure. Well, it started with the occasional polled bull that would be added, and again, more like an occasional red bull. From two Zippet P sons, Morand PP and Lester P, a number of polled options had emerged, most notably A2P2 and Remover PP. From them, we see in the Semex lineup an explosion of good options, some hetero-polled and many homo-polled as well. Lehigh PP and A2P2 son has been very popular for us. Bandito, a Zircon P son, has been very popular too. A son from Lehigh's full brother, Bespoke PP, is still pretty new but very popular in the first 3 months.
Okay, and then yes, Bespoke PP, still pretty new and still probably in his first few months. But when you mentioned new bulls and the explosion of new polled options, the current WestGen lineup has quite a number of those very interesting new polled options. So can you give a synopsis on some of those bulls and their pedigrees?
Yeah, it's very exciting right now on the polled options. We're also getting a lot more variety in the pedigrees as well. So Cash Cow, Equity PP, and Benby Applause PP are shortcut P sons. Enjoy PP and Energetic PP are remover PP sons. And I remember Amanda talked about Enjoy being a top protein bull, so we're going to be using quite a bit of him. Currency PP is also a Right Stuff PP son. We also have Gideon PP, a Logic son. A new bull that's just being released this month is also Acolyte PP. He is our first lay-high PP son. And they all are balanced type and production bulls, all have very respectable, even high LPI scores over a 3,500 threshold. We have released 23 homo polled and 25 hetero polled sires in the last year and a half.
Oh, it is, that's a lot of bulls, and certainly not something that would be considered niche as part of Semex's product strategy. It's very clear they've made a real effort to make this a real focus. So you mentioned variety earlier, and so how are you managing the fact that many of these best polled options are related to each other?
Yeah, it's a challenge indeed with any trait that starts out as a niche. Fortunately, the pole market is evolving very quickly and variety is here. We need to manage that and we use our Optimate mating program. But one strategy that helps is not to just solely focus on the homo polled. So we've got some of those hetero-polled bulls, a bull named Blindfold P, who has no polled sires in his pedigree until the 7th generation back. Even though he is hetero-polled, he can still be used very strategically to add diversity. Also, to illustrate diversity via the hetero-polled options, we have a brand new bull released for September, Lightship P. He's an Anahita son with 1,400 kgs milk, 14 on confirmation. It's truly amazing to see all this diversity, but also keeping with some of the balanced breeding as well. I can count over 12 outcross sires from the more common luster P pedigrees, and each generation of polled, we get more options.
It's clear something to be excited about. Some producers are really thinking of just using homo pole bulls though in their program just to ensure 100% of calves are hornless, and I can understand that strategy. But can you explain how then the hetero-polled group provides some strategic advantages as well?
Yeah, this goes back to the polled being the dominant trait. For herds that have a goal to become 100% polled, I would suggest starting with elevate genomic testing, and then using those homo polled would be best in the early going to start getting the homo polled females in your herd, and the usage of the non-polled bull becomes an option too, since a resulting calf will still be polled. It ensures that we keep adding the diversity and incorporating the top genetic options to maximize the genetic progress on the traits we are selecting for.
Well, that's an excellent point, Erin, and it's a really exciting times. Thanks for sharing your wisdom on the polled strategy.
Thanks, Paul and Erin, for showing how polled has shifted from being a niche option to a practical mainstream strategy that more herds are adopting. It's clear that animal welfare and labor savings are strong drivers, and the genetic progress in this area means producers no longer have to compromise on performance.